1 of 4. Day 773, Tuesday, May 19th. John 5 verses 5 and 18. John 5 verses 5 to 18 NKJV. Now a certain man was there who had an infirmity 38 years. When Jesus saw him lying there and knew that he already had been in that condition a long time, he said to him, "Do you want to be made well?" The sick man answered him, "Sir, I have no man to put me into the pool when the water is stirred up, but while I am coming, another steps down before me." Jesus said to him, "Rise, take up your bed and walk." And immediately the man was made well, took up his bed and walked. And that day was the Sabbath. The Jews therefore said to him who was cured, "It is the Sabbath. It is not lawful for you to carry your bed." He answered them, "He who made me well said to me, 'Take up your bed and walk.'" Then they asked him, "Who is the man who said to you, 'Take up your bed and walk'?" But the one who was healed did not know who it was, for Jesus had withdrawn, a multitude being in that place. Afterward Jesus found him in the temple and said to him, "See, you have been made well. Sin no more, lest a worse thing come upon you." The man departed and told the Jews that it was Jesus who had made him well. For this reason the Jews persecuted Jesus and sought to kill him, because he had done these things on the Sabbath. But Jesus answered them, "My Father has been working until now, and I have been working." Therefore the Jews sought all the more to kill him, because he not only broke the Sabbath, but also said that God was his Father, making himself equal with God. Daily Deep Dive, verses 5 to 6. What's interesting to me here is that we are given a very specific amount of time that this man had been suffering. Why did God want John to record this exact time? 38 years before this time frame, Jesus had not yet been born. 38 years before, he would have existed as part of the God family known, 2 of 4, as the Word. My assumption would be that the Word, pre-incarnate Jesus Christ, would have heard this man's prayers for approximately 6 or 7 years, assuming that Jesus is around 31 years old here and spent 9 months in utero. Did God allow Jesus to have these memories as a human or bring them to remembrance through the Holy Spirit? Notice verse 6 here says Jesus knew that he already had been in that condition a long time. Verse 7, it's interesting to me that Jesus doesn't even respond to what the man says in verse 7. He doesn't confirm or deny anything about this strange situation. I should mention that when they excavated this site where the pool was discovered, that the Romans had built a temple over top of this pool to Asclepius. This is significant in the fact that Asclepius was the Roman god of healing medicine. His symbol was the famous staff with a serpent wrapped around it, aka the rod of Asclepius, which is still used today as a medical symbol. After the Roman destruction of Jerusalem in 70 AD, and especially after Emperor Hadrian rebuilt the city as Aelia Capitolina in the 2nd century AD, the area appears to have been transformed into a healing sanctuary. People would visit Asclepius temples seeking miraculous healing through use of sacred waters, rituals, sacrifices, etc. Non-venomous snakes often roamed these temples as a symbol of renewal and healing through the shedding of their skin. There is debate over whether Roman healing worship developed later at this site, already known for being a famous healing location, or whether the healing idea was already influenced through Hellenization and adopted by the Jewish people. Verse 8. Jesus doesn't have this man enter the water or do anything associated with this site. This man is healed without 3 of 4 rituals, simply by the word of Jesus. Rise, take up your bed, and walk. Verse 9. We learn here that this is another example of Jesus healing on his holy Sabbath day. Verse 10, according to the traditions, laws that the Jews had established, it was unlawful to carry anything in either hand in their bosom or on their shoulders that weighed more than just a couple of ounces weight of 2 dried figs. Additionally, it was specifically also against their laws to roll up a bed on the Sabbath. All of this was thought to be work. Take note that in verse 8, Jesus had specifically told this man to take up his bed and walk. Jesus would never command a man to sin, and this was not a sin to do on the Sabbath day. Verse 13. Here, it seems that Jesus, not wanting to draw attention or make a scene at this location, a multitude being in that place, immediately after commanding this man to rise, take up your bed and walk, slips into the crowd and disappears, likely before anyone can notice what had just miraculously occurred. Verse 14. Notice that Jesus draws a connection to this man's condition and sin, specifically commanding him to sin no more, lest a worse thing come upon you. We know that not all trials and health conditions are as a result of sin, yet here clearly this one seems to be. We aren't given any more specifics than that. Verse 16. Here, notice that these religious leaders aren't in denial about the amazing miracle that had just occurred in this man's life. He had been in this affliction for 38 years, and now he's been healed. But instead of sharing in this man's joy and 4 of 4, marveling at this amazing miracle, what do? They want to kill the man responsible for doing this, because it was done on the Sabbath. Their religious ideas had clouded their ability to see and reason clearly. The NKJV uses the word persecuted. This word in the Greek typically meant to pursue intensely, chase after, and because in this verse it's in the imperfect tense, it means they kept doing it. In the first century, this word would be used for a hunter pursuing his prey or a soldier chasing an enemy. The imagery is active and relentless. Verses 17 to 18, after this healing next to the pool of Bethesda and the conflict with a man carrying his mat on the Sabbath, this verse at first glance felt abrupt to me and out of context. However, after considering this more in the Jewish context of this man working on the Sabbath by carrying his mat and Jesus working on the Sabbath by healing, it makes sense that Jesus would make a clarifying comment about work. We understand per Genesis that the God rested ceased from the creation work, but clearly God still sustained the universe and life, and certain things like judgment, love, and mercy. They never stop. Here, Jesus was making the case that God is always, at all times, active in certain things' work. And then Jesus makes the explosive statement, "And I have been working." We aren't left to wonder what they thought this meant or how this made them feel. We see in verse 18 that this made them want to kill him even more, because not only did he break in their minds the Sabbath, but he claimed God was his father, and all that they believed he was claiming by that